This video is sponsored by Skillshare. The next book I got was again a non-fiction book. I have no clue what this book is about. I'll read you from the back of it, okay? It's just all very weird. Hello? Can we just appreciate this gorgeous cover? Oh wait, I forgot one. Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. So I haven't done a book haul in a very long time, but I may have bought some books over the past couple of months, and I thought I would just do a massive collective book haul. So I thought at the beginning of this year, like, no, I'm just going to go on a book buying ban and, you know, try to read all the books that I already have on my shelf. Well, I failed miserably, but I don't regret anything. So let's just take a look at all of the books that I accumulated over the past couple of months. I believe there are over 30. So without further ado, let's take a look. Otherwise this video is going to take forever. I'm not going to go in any particular order, but I thought I would just start it with some of the newest books that I got, because later on in the video, I'm going to be talking about a few books that you may have already seen in my videos if you watch all of them, but maybe not. But still, I thought I would treat you with all of the newest books that I recently got. The first one is M-Train by Patti Smith. So you may have seen in my previous videos that I read Just Kids by Patti Smith, and I absolutely loved it. So I thought I would also buy one of her other non-fiction books. So Patti Smith is a singer-songwriter and artist, and she's living a very cool life. And also in the past, she has just done so many amazing things when it comes to travel, meeting new people, writing songs, creating art. And in her non-fiction books, Just Kids as well as M-Train, she just talks about her travels and the people she met. So this one is again full of just her cool stories. I already read it, I really enjoyed it. I did like Just Kids a lot more, but still very happy that I got this and I've already read it. The next one is Einstein's War by Matthew Stanley. I have quite a few new non-fiction books on this list, so I'm very excited about that because non-fiction is one of my favorite genres. And Einstein is one of my favorite scientists, and I think he's absolutely brilliant. He's so interesting. And I saw this book in Waterstones in Amsterdam, and I thought, oh my gosh, first of all, the cover looks freaking amazing, and it sounds really interesting. So this is all about, it said, how relativity conquered nationalism and shook the world. So basically all of the effects that Einstein's theory of relativity had on the world, not only in scientific aspects, but also on just, you know, politics and philosophy. So I'm very curious to read this book. There weren't many reviews on Goodreads, but all of the reviews that I did read were phenomenal. So I'm very curious. On the same trip to Waterstones, I also got Neil deGrasse Tyson's Letters from an Astrophysicist. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, you may have seen him around. He is a scientist and astrophysicist, and he loves talking about science, especially in this very kind of easy way to really make just regular people like you and me understand these very theoretical concepts and scientific concepts. So this one sounded really fun. So basically this is all about people writing letters to Neil deGrasse Tyson, asking questions like, why are we here? What gives us hope? How do we know? And then he just replies and talks to them about his ideas about such topics. And I just like these books that really make you think, and I think this is definitely going to be one of them. Next up we have a Dutch book, but it is translated from English. This one is called Geschiedenis zien en begrijpen, but in English it is called Instant History, and this one is written by, let me see, Sandra Lawrence. Had to look for her name there. But this is basically all about big historical events written in a very easy way, just a few facts here and there, and then every page is about one event. So for example, the murder on Abraham Lincoln, or the women's right to vote, or Theodore Roosevelt, just so many different things. And of course they can't put all of history in one book, but it is still interesting to get to know a few facts about these big events. It's also like perfect for pub quizzes and stuff, and to just know these interesting facts. And the reason I got this one is just because I love learning new things. I think it is brilliant that even after school you still have the opportunity to learn a lot of new things. And another way for me to learn new things is through Skillshare. I am so grateful to announce that this video is in collaboration with Skillshare. So if, like me, you really like learning new things about various different topics, Skillshare is definitely the place for you, because it is an online learning platform with thousands of inspiring classes about like photography, illustration, but also classes about, for example, freelancing, or very motivational classes about life. I have been loving this class called Digital Illustration by Lacey Jordan, because she talks all about finding your own style, tips and tricks on drawing digitally, and improve your digital drawing skills. One of my favorite things about Skillshare is that it is curated specifically for learning new things, so there are no ads in between the classes. You can just continue to watch every class without interruptions. And above all, they're always launching new premium classes, so there will always be something new for you to learn. If you're thinking, oh my goodness, I want to try out Skillshare, I have a great offer for you, because the first 1,000 people press the link in my description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare Premium, so you can start learning and creating and becoming mind blown about all of the amazing information and classes that you can find on their website. Again, thank you so much Skillshare for sponsoring this part of the video. Now let's continue with my book haul. The next book is again a non-fiction book. It is called The White Album, written by Joan Didion. Joan Didion is a writer. She's written multiple novels, but in this non-fiction book, she wrote a lot of essays all about living life in the 60s and the 70s. The 60s and 70s are like my favorite era. I think it's just a fascinating time with all of the lifestyle and music, the outfits, just all the new things that were happening. And this is full of essays about what it was like living during the 60s and 70s. I haven't read it yet, but as you can tell, I'm really freaking excited because this sounds right up my alley. Next up, we have a completely different book, namely Het Achterhuis, written by Anne Frank. This is Anne Frank's diary. This is of course the original Dutch edition, because I recently finally went to the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam, and I had not been there before, even though I've been to Amsterdam multiple times in my life. But I finally decided to go, so of course I had to get Anne Frank's diary, because I've also never read her diary before. I feel like a very bad Dutch person, because I think it should be like part of your education. I never read it for school. I never read it in my free time, but now I've bought it, so I am most definitely am going to read it, because this is just such a big part of, you know, Dutch history when it comes to the war. The next book I got was again a non-fiction book. It is called The Salt Pet, written by Raina Wynn. And the thing is, I have no clue what this book is about. I saw it in this really cute bookstore when I was on holiday in the Netherlands. I actually made a vlog all about that holiday. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out up there. And I saw this one, I was very intrigued, and it had very high ratings on Goodreads, but I didn't really know it was non-fiction, but apparently it's non-fiction. I have no clue what this book is about. I'll read you from the back of it, okay? Just days after Raina Wynn learned that Moth, her husband of 32 years, was terminally ill, they lost their home and livelihood. With nothing left and little time, they impulsively decided to walk the 630-mile southwest coast path from Somerset to Dorset, via Devon and Cornwall. Living free and wild at the mercy of sea and sky, they discovered a new, liberating existence. But what would they find at the journey's end? So this is all about living free. Oh my goodness, I'm very intrigued. I will let you know if I've read it. Also, let me know in the comments if you have read this book, because it sounds very refreshing and very something I've never read before. Why does it look like my camera keeps getting lighter and lighter? Okay, the next one, you may have already seen this one in a video actually. It is called Utopia Avenue. Look at this freaking amazing cover. This is kind of like a Daisy Jones and a Six-ish book, in that it is about a band, but this is all about a British band. I believe this is like a psychedelic band with like psychedelic music, and this takes place in Britain in 1967. A friend of mine recommended it to me because she knows that I absolutely love Daisy Jones and the Six, and she was like, I think this is going to be a book for you, and Querine, I think you are right. Next up, we have a Dutch book. It is called Het Perenlied, written by Joost Omen, and if you're Dutch and you watch The Slimste Mens, you will know why I bought this book. So The Slimste Mens is like this TV show in the Netherlands where people compete and they just have to do like kind of pub quiz-ish questions. It is so fun. It is so interesting because I'm always learning new things when I'm watching that show. And in that quiz was this writer called Joost Omen. I had never heard of him before, but I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was so funny. He's kind of awkward and just a very funny guy, and so I thought, you know, I would support him by buying his book. Apparently this is a very, very strange book in that everything is very weird. So it's said that Gabriel falls in love with the Bead Queen, a woman born out of 3 beads, yes, like red beads, and then they go to a protest in a theme park, and then the Bead Queen is going to New York to find her father, and then it's just all very weird. People said like it felt like they were on drugs while reading this book. I read some reviews and just like they were very sort of spaced out. I am very curious how I'm going to feel whilst reading this book. Shall we talk about another non-fiction book? Yes, let's do it. 21st Lessons for the 21st Century, written by Yuval Noah Harari. This is kind of the 3rd book in this trilogy kind of non-fiction books series that he wrote. The first one is Sapiens, then we have Homo Deus. I absolutely loved his other 2 books, so I thought I would pick this one up as well. And as the title suggests, this is all about 21 lessons for the 21st century. So for example, this is all about the political change, the technological change, despair and hope, so like terrorism or war, and just a lot of different things. Truth, like ignorance, justice, science fiction, resilience, like education, meaning, meditation, just a lot of things. I don't really know what to expect, to be honest, but it just sounds really cool. On the back it says, how can we protect ourselves? What do we do? How should we prepare for like the future? I'm intrigued as heck. I loved his first 2 books, and again, I just love non-fiction. Next one, we have a book that I actually got for free out of a little library. Sometimes if I get rid of books, I put them in these little libraries that are around town, and sometimes I take a book. And I saw The Shadow of the Wind in English, written by Carlos Readathon. I have never read this book before, even though it is such a well-known and popular book. So this is about our main character, let me see, Daniel, and he is a book dealer whose mother has passed away. But then he finds solace in his book called The Shadow of the Wind, and he wants to find out more about this author who wrote The Shadow of the Wind. So he goes on his journey to find more of his books, but then he finds out that someone has actually been destroying every single one of the books that that author has written. And then in fact, it may be that Daniel actually has the very last copy of a book by this author, and that is the beginning of a story. I just love this edition as well. Look, there's a little hole in here. Hello. And I found it in a little library. The next book is actually a secondhand one. I found it in a thrift store for €1, and it is the Da Vinci Code. You may remember, I think like 5 or 6 years ago, I also had the Da Vinci Code and I unhauled it. But now I thought, no, I would actually really like to read it one day. So I got it for €1. I don't really know much about this book, but I believe that this takes place in Paris because someone is murdered in the Louvre Museum. In the Louvre? That sounds weird in English. We always say just the Louvre. I'll just say it in the Louvre. Oh well. That someone is murdered in the museum and Robert Langdon is like a detective, I think, and he's going to find out what happened, and then he finds out that it actually has something to do with Leonardo da Vinci. That's all I know. It sounds super interesting. I've also never seen the film, so I don't really know what to expect, but we'll see. Next up, I bought Hamnet, written by Maggie O'Farrell, and I have no clue what this book is about, but I just saw it everywhere on the booksternet, and I just wanted to pick it up. I will read you from the back of it. On a summer's day in 1596, a young girl in Stratford-upon-Avon takes to her bed with a sudden fever. Her twin brother Hamnet searches everywhere for help. Why is nobody at home? Their mother Agnes is over a mile away in the garden where she grows medicinal herbs. Their father is working in London. Neither parents know that Hamnet will not survive the week. Hamnet is a novel inspired by the son of a famous playwright, a boy whose life has been all but forgotten, but whose name was given to one of the most celebrated plays ever written. Ooh, I'm intrigued. I have said I'm intrigued so often in this video. I'm sorry. I just want to read this book and I'm just intrigued, okay? The next book is called Shuggy Bane, written by Douglas Stewart. This is all about a young boy named Hugh who lives in the 1980s in Glasgow in Scotland with his mother in a very poor neighborhood. This is all about the difficult life that this family is living and how they're trying to get out of it and, you know, trying to get a better house and just a better future. I honestly don't know any more about this book, but I think I might just go into it blind, not really knowing too much about the plot. So that is why I only know this, and I'm only telling you this because I don't know more about it. The next books I'm going to be talking about are books that I either received from publishers or for previous collaborations in my booktube videos. I'm just so incredibly grateful that doing this YouTube thing is allowing me to receive these books, which is just a dream come true for a book lover like me. The first one is very fun. It is actually Unsinkable, written by Lotte van der Noord, and this is the English translation to her book that she released this April. And this is all about the Titanic. It's a story that takes place on the Titanic. It's a fictional story, but of course also about a lot of real people who were on Titanic. So this is the English translation. I received this for free, so I think I might give this away to someone because of course I already have the original Dutch version, but I'm so happy that they now also translated it in English. I've already read it and I thought it was very fun and of course very interesting to read about these things on the Titanic, since it is just such an interesting event that happened in history, and I always like to read more non-fiction as well as fiction books about Titanic. Next up I have 3, and I received these from Hamley Books as well as Unsinkable. These are all written by Joanne Carlton. So the first one is a thriller called Dust. Would you choose survival or extinction? And on the back it says, here we are then at the end of it all. So this just sounds like a very maybe dystopian type thriller, and I believe it's a standalone, which is always great. Then we have a young adult called Hell City Final Stop. This is actually a novella, so it's also just a standalone, and this is all about a girl, and it says she wakes up in a burning city. On day 1, the monsters discover her. On day 2, she learns to defend herself, and on day 3, a dog saves her life, and that changes everything. So this is a short novella, perfect for if I just want to read something quick and, you know, maybe read a book in a day. And lastly, we have Heartbeat, and this one is about what would you do before your life ends. This is about 2 best friends, Sam and Jesper, and they always do everything together. However, one day they find out that Jesper is terminally ill. So this is of course all about, you know, making every second count. And then the last stack of books are all books that I received from Book of the Month. Again, just so freaking grateful for this. It's a long list. I'm going to go through them quite quickly, but I still really wanted to show you. But as I said, if you've seen my previous videos, you may have already seen these books, but if you haven't, you know, here they are. The first one is Malibu Rising, written by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I also love this book. This book takes place in 24 hours, and it is all about Nina Riva, and she's going to throw a party, and shit goes down, and it is all about what's going to happen at that party. The next one is Razorblade Tears, written by S.A. Cosby. It says a black father, a white father, 2 dead sons, a quest for revenge and redemption. I'm just going to read you all of the quick blurbs like this, otherwise if I have to explain all of them, it's going to take a really long time. But sometimes it's good to just go into a book not knowing what to expect, you know? So I think that's why these little blurbs are perfect. Next we have Not a Happy Family, written by Sherry Lapina. In this family, everyone is keeping secrets, even the death. 56 Days, written by Catherine Ryan Howard. And this actually takes place during like COVID-19. It's written during COVID-19 and all of this shite that's happening right now. And this is about how Kiara and Oliver meet in a supermarket queue in Dublin, and they start dating the same week COVID-19 reaches Irish shores. And you know how this relationship is going whilst, you know, living through a freaking pandemic. We Are the Brennans, written by Tracy Lang. Tracy Lang's We Are the Brennans explores the staying power of shame and the redemptive power of love in an Irish Catholic family torn apart by secrets. Sky Falling, written by Mia Mackenzie. In this buoyant novel, I think it's called buoyant? I don't really know this word. In this buoyant novel, a probing examination of the complexities of family, queerness, race, and community, a woman who's used to going solo discovered that there's one relationship she can't run away from. The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. A woman struggling with burnout learns to embrace the unexpected and the men she enlists to help her in this heartfelt new romance by best-selling author Helen Huang. I don't really read much romance, so I'm very interested to finally pick up a romance book again. Like, my shelf does not have a lot of romance, so I'm so happy to finally add a proper romance book to my shelf. The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina. Oh my god, look at this cover. It is so freaking gorgeous. This one is written by Zoraida Cordova, or Zoraida Cordova. And it says, the stars have shifted, the earth has turned, the time is here, I am dying, come and collect your inheritance. Half Sick of Shadows, written by Laura Sebastian. The Lady of Shalott, or Charlotte, reclaims her story in this bold feminist reimagination of the Arthurian myth from the best-selling author of Ash Princess. This is a myth retelling. Sisters in Arms, written by Kaya Alderson. As the first and only all-black battalion in the Women's Army Corps, the legendary 6888, these brave women risked their lives to serve with honor against incredible odds. So unique, I've never read a story about female soldiers before. Instructions for Dancing, written by Nicola Yoon. I've already read this one actually, and I enjoyed it so very much. So this is about a girl who can see kind of like the future and the past of how relationships started and how they're going to end. Very unique, really recommend this one. The People We Keep, written by Alison Larkin. Can we just appreciate this gorgeous cover? Oh my god, I love this cover so much. It's so happy. This is about a girl named April who wants more in life, and so she decides to leave and just kind of go on this big adventure and meet a lot of new people and see really and truly what life has to offer. Damnation Spring, written by Ash Davidson. This is all about people who live in the woods, and this family really wants to get another child. However, the woman keeps getting miscarriages, and it may have something to do with the water that runs through this wood. And the very last book in this massive book haul is called Once There Were Wolves, written by Charlotte McConaughey. This is about 2 twin sisters who release 14 wild wolves back into the wild. And it says that Once There Were Wolves is the unforgettable story of a woman desperate to save the creatures she loves if she isn't consumed by a world that was once her refugee. Oh wait, I forgot one. Because I only have the dust jacket here because I'm reading this book at the moment. This is The Maidens, written by Alex Michaelides, and it says, a spellbinding tale of psychological suspense weaving together Greek mythology, murder and obsession. Reading this one at the moment, enjoying it very much, even though I'm reading a lot of negative reviews about this book, so I don't know in the end if I'm still going to like it, but you will definitely hear that in my next videos. Whoa, these were a lot of books. I really hope you like this book haul. It's just been a long time since I've done a book haul, but sometimes it's just really fun to just look at all the books that, you know, are now in my library. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And of course, you can also follow me on my social media. If you want to comment something which you don't know what to comment a little stack of books emoji like this one, because I have a big stack of books next to me and I love the look of it. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you're having a beautiful day and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!